My uncle told me it looked like a sausage casing.
I can't work with this.
God, I can't think. I need more Mullins.
Hey, and welcome back to The Office Field Guide. I'm Chris from Wolverine Films, and we're reviewing every episode of The Office ever. Today we're looking at Sexual Harassment. Sexual Harassment is the second episode of the second season of The Office, 8th episode overall. It was written by BJ Novak and directed by Ken Kwapis. It originally aired in late September of 2005, and it was viewed by over 7 million people, which is a type of retention that was a great sign for the show. I'm struggling with how to best explain the setup for this episode, so I'll just give it to you the way the episode does. It's set up during the opening segment that Michael likes to send inappropriate forwards to his employees. Later, when Todd Packer arrives with news that a C-level Dunder Mifflin executive resigned due to sexual harassment, Toby and corporate want to put on a sexual harassment training. Thus, the perfect storm occurs for the show to explore the topic. So with that, let's get into this without crossing any lines.
Just explain what that is.
Explain what you think that is.
Okay.
Just explain that.
First, BJ Novak was inspired to write this episode based on sexual harassment training that NBC had the cast and crew partake in before the series began. When aired, this episode contained a warning due to all the sexual content, and even one station refused to air the episode due to the language in it. I'll give the same warning here.
I promise you we don't need a
Warning! 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 Warning!
But I bleep almost everything anyways, and we won't be delving into anything too deep. So I think that the way that you view this episode is probably based on your past and maybe your present experiences. So what I'm getting at is that not everyone is going to have the same understanding of all the nuance that's layered into this episode. And for an episode from 2005, it's as timely now as ever. Many writers and producers drew from their own personal experiences in writing this episode. And Jenna Fischer and Angela Kingsley spoke out about how this line,
"Usually the day we talk about sexual harassment is the day that everyone harasses me as a joke,"
was actually from their personal experiences. And just like how the Diversity Day episode was an attempt to take a jab at racism, that's what the writers are attempting here. Alright, with that out of the way, can we talk about this?
Office relationships are never a good idea.
All relationships, even a one-night stand.
Who is she talking about? I've heard arguments that it was Stanley, that it was Packer, maybe even Michael. Who do you think it was? Leave it in the comments. Okay, and another giant element of this episode is the unveiling of this joke.
Jim? No thanks, I'm good.
That's what she said.
This is the first usage of the phrase on the show, and it became a reoccurring joke throughout the series. In fact, it might be the most famous phrase associated with the show. And while the phrase is now synonymous with this show, its origins date significantly further back. Like way back. The channel Today I Learned did a thorough job of explaining the origin of this phrase, so check out that video later. I'll leave a link in the description. But the short of it is that this phrase is based on the British phrase, "as the actress says to the bishop," which was used in various ways on the original UK series. This phrase has its roots in the early 1900s, and it has to do with how actresses, who were known to live vivaciously, would confess their sins to the clergy. Thus, when a double entendre would present itself, "as the actress says to the bishop," worked the same as "that's what she said." However, the joke as we know it now in the US has been collectively attributed to a Weekend update from the 70s spoken by Chevy Chase. However, I couldn't find a clip of that. Instead, and maybe more pertinent to The Office, the joke appeared in the 90s from the SNL spinoff movie Wayne's World.
Yeah, 'cause I'm getting tired of holding this. Yeah, that's what she said.
And BJ Novak is on record saying that it's a joke that guys in college would say from time to time, and that's why he wrote it into the episode. Okay, back to this episode. There are so many great jokes.
Technically means he works for corporate, so he's really not a part of our family. Also, he's divorced, so he's really not a part of his family. I just forward it along. You wouldn't arrest a guy who's just delivering drugs from one guy to another.
Come on.
Michael, come on, you don't have to worry.
I'm not worried.
To HR.
You know what? The only thing I am worried about is getting them.
But I will say that my absolute favorite joke from this episode is this moment here.
Okay, use the doll. Pam. Pam.
It's such a clever way to call out that Michael is crossing the line by hard cutting to a video that has that as a headline. And I love that this joke is then followed up later with this.
That's true, in a way. You can't say anything.
Where's the line? Where's the line, Jan?
And speaking of that video, I love it. I love it so much. It has this subtle, outdated, underproduced feeling to it, and it's just spot on for the corporate environment. I read this was actually shot in the writer's room of The Office, so there's your trivia for the day. And with that, let's jump into the deeper meaning.
Why don't you explain this to me like I'm 5?
Security is the word of the day. The workplace shouldn't be somewhere where you're discriminated against or even treated differently based on your race, your heritage, your gender, or whatever other group there is out there. It should be a place of security where individuals can feel enabled to thrive in their roles. Michael's arc in this episode goes from someone who couldn't care less about the implications of sexual harassment to someone who eventually, and only kind of sorta, stands up for a woman in his office. And not to get too nerded out on the cinematography here, but when Michael lets Packer go on razzing blondes, the cameraman so perfectly frames this shot with Angela there, having no voice in the matter. He does the same thing with Phyllis later. It's incredibly well done.
We're talking blonding covenant,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like 10 words a minute.
Security is the word of the day because Michael gets a taste of his own medicine around the halfway point of this episode. Look how confident and secure Michael is as he struts out to the warehouse guys. But when the warehouse guys start teasing Michael's, well, just watch the episode to see what they're teasing him for, he walks away with just a little bit of a taste of what it feels to be marginalized and the butt of someone else's joke without any voice in the matter. And while Michael's marginalization here might be the turning point in any other show, with Michael having learned a valuable lesson about security and the well-being of his coworkers, instead, Michael's turning point is here.
We have him on retainer to protect the company as well as upper-level management, such as yourself.
Corporate manipulation or not, you can see that Michael's security has returned to him.
Me up with an attorney to protect me. You can't be too careful about what you say.
This episode then closes out with Michael making an attempt to protect Phyllis. Not out of protecting her feelings, but it's because he realizes that it comes with the territory of his position of power. So in essence, I think that the takeaway here is that people in power in the community, in the workplace, or in our family units need to build a place of security and safety.
I am upper management, and it would be inappropriate for me to take a bath with Pam, as much as I might want to.
He said what?
Or I don't know, maybe this whole episode was just here to push NBC's censorship as hard as they could. I mean, it really does shed some light in some dark places. Well, I just hope you got as much out of this as I did.
That's what she said.
What gives you the right?
Alright folks, so time to rate this thing. Here's what this episode has going for it. The start of an iconic reoccurring joke, a deeper meaning that's as relevant today as it was back then, really good writing, directing, acting, and camera work. But here's what it has going against it.
Get the bleep button ready for him.
Ugh, are there any Packer fans out there? Do Packer fans even exist? Alright, and I'm gonna give this one a 3 out of 5. Which kind of pains me because I actually really did enjoy this episode after doing the analysis. It's a solid episode, but I do think it just deserves that 3 out of 5. So with that, let's award some Dundies.
And then I gotta get him to the Dundies.
The Dundie for being a scapegoat goes to Kevin Malone.
Kevin, just unwarranted. Hostile work environment, Kevin.
Packer said it.
No, you said it. He pointed. A point is not a say.
Way to take one for the team, and sorry that Michael left you feeling marginalized while trying to protect Phyllis from being marginalized. And that Dundie for the best reoccurring character first seen on screen during this episode goes to Todd Packer. Nope. The blow-up doll.
I know, it's good. It is not over. It is not over till it's over.
For real, I get why the Todd Packer character exists. He's an unchanging anchor point to measure Michael Scott's character growth against, but it's just so hard to take. And maybe we'll do a Packer episode one day if you Packer fans are actually out there. I read that the production on this episode actually halted because Steve Carell wanted to have David Koechner play Todd Packer, but there was some scheduling issues. And nothing against David Koechner. It's the character of Todd Packer that's the problem. But at any rate, let's not take this victory away from Jim's girlfriend.
She's nice, she's shy. She's actually here if you want to meet her. Hold on a second. Oh my God, put on a shirt.
And congratulations to you Dundee winners. Today in the comments, don't forget to leave who you think that Phyllis had that one night stand with. So don't forget to give us a like and click the bell and all that crap. It helps us out. And you'll get notified for next week when we look at Office Olympics. Another great episode of The Office. Man, I love season 2. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
What does the female vagina look like?
Sorry.
Does that mean on the leg?